Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello and welcome everyone to today's webinar. Nice to see you. I can't see you on the other side, but at least you know how we look. Today's topic is advanced or career in engineering and geoscience in Germany. I'm very happy that today we have two presenters. For those of you who listen live, you can actually now see us. For those of you who will be watching this presentation later on, unfortunately won't see the video of us, and so that's why we also have the picture here. My name is Hanni Geist. I represent the German Academic Exchange Service here in the western region of the United States. And with us today, we have Mr. Solinas from the KIT, the Carl Benz School and HECTOR School in Karlsruhe, and also Professor Dr. Jarochowska, who's an assistant professor at the University of Erlangen-Nuremberg. For now, I'm going to stop the webcam just so that I don't interfere with the presentation, and it helps my bandwidth a little bit to not have that running. But we'll share that again at the end of this presentation, so it's a little bit more personal when you ask questions. So today's agenda, first of all, before we get into the university presentations, I will just briefly talk about DAD and the scholarships and grants that are available to you. And then we will begin with the Karlsruhe Institute of Technology and their presentation on training a new generation of scientists prepared to study global environmental change. And then afterwards, oh, I actually just realized, and I'm very sorry, that apparently I mixed up the titles of this presentation. Well, now you know this was a test to see if you pay attention. So the Karlsruhe Institute of Technology, of course, is a school of engineering, and you can earn a BSc and an MSc in German engineering. And then we have the Friedrich-Alexander-Universität Erlangen-Nuremberg, who is Professor Jarochowska is going to talk to you about the degree programs that are available to study global environmental change. For the presentation, when I upload that, I will, of course, change that. Apologies for that mix-up. Before we begin, I will share the slides with you. The presentation is also recorded, and I will send a follow-up email to you later on, so you have that. You will, of course, be able to contact the presenters afterwards. But feel free to type in all your questions as we speak, and I will collect those questions, and I will take them to the Q&A at the very end. In your panel, there is a section called handouts, and there is one presentation by the KIT that you can already download. But if you don't want to do that right now, I will also upload that to our DAD webinar archive. Now, just briefly for you, if you are not familiar with DAD, DAD is the German National Agency for International Academic Cooperation and Exchange. And really what DAD does in the United States is represent German higher education and research abroad and provide really general information about the German university system, German research, and general questions that you may have about studying in Germany. And then, of course, we also offer scholarships and grants. We offer them to all academics at all stages and all disciplines. And there are two funding opportunities that I would like to mention today because they're relevant for the study opportunities that we're going to discuss here in a little bit. And those are, the first one is a study scholarship for graduates. Undergraduates, senior graduates are eligible to apply. And this is a funding opportunity for you to study a master's degree for 2 years in Germany. You will receive 850 euros a month, health insurance, and also a travel stipend. There's one deadline per year, that's November 4th. For the deadline, you only need to know where you want to apply. You don't have to have them accepted yet. And again, this is available to all academic fields. So the fields that we're going to discuss today and the universities that we're going to discuss today are eligible, so you can apply for that. And you don't necessarily have to know German. And the programs we're going to discuss today are programs offered in English. And then finally, we offer research grants, and this is available to anyone studying in the US who would like to conduct research in Germany for short-term 1 to 6 months or 7 to 10 months, and the next deadline is coming up May 1st. You can read more about the study scholarship and the research grant on our DAD.org website. And of course, if you have any questions later on, feel free to ask them during the webinar, and also, of course, get in touch with me later. And here is just the social media channels where you can stay up to date. And that was all I wanted to briefly mention about DAD, but really the focus of today's webinar is the universities and their programs. So for now, I would like to hand over the microphone to Mr. Solinas, who will be talking about the KIT, and we'll talk about programs available in the fields of engineering.
Yes, many thanks, Hani. Yes, a very welcome from Germany, from Karlsruhe, from the southwest part of Germany. My name is Gian-Pietro Solinas. I'm the program consultant here at the HECTOR school and at the Carl Benz School of the KIT. And yeah, I'm going to introduce you, I'm looking forward to it, to our business schools here at the KIT. So, of course, traditionally excellent because I mean, Germany is very famous for engineering. We have a strong focus here at the KIT, which is the Karlsruhe Institute of Technology, which is one of the best universities worldwide in engineering. And the focus of it is actually mobility, IT, or energy. And this is what we are also offering here at the international department of the KIT. So let's go on and let's go to the second slide. Maybe a few facts about Germany. The employment rate in Germany for immigrants, for those who are coming from abroad, is very high. Actually, with a KIT degree, by the way, the job chances are also very high in getting very soon a job. Usually, the students always get a job during the study, so there is no gap in between graduation and the start of work. We have the 5th largest economy and, of course, 4th in exports in the world. I think those are facts who those who are following Germany knows about. And, of course, we are really strong in engineer. And I can tell you that also the German companies are always looking for very good international engineers, as we have a lack of it here in Germany, actually. So for the really many technology companies here in Germany. We are not talking about, when I talk about companies, I'm not talking about only the bigger ones like Mercedes or maybe Porsche or those bigger ones which you may know, but we also talk about many companies which are called here hidden champions, which are actually worldwide acting and world leaders in some sectors, but nobody knows them. And for those big portion of the companies here, especially in the south of Germany, we have really many and always looking for international students and engineers. So let's go on about the KIT, a few figures about that. As I told you, the focus is, of course, IT, energy, and mobility. I think one of the most unique things that we have in the KIT is that we have more than 9,000 employees. More than 6,000 are working actually in research, which makes KIT worldwide a little bit unique in the world, with so many research institutes, more than 150 in the meantime. We have 26,000 students, more or less, here at KIT, which you can see because the city is not that big. We have 300,000 inhabitants, and 1/10 of them, more or less, is a student. We have more than 350 professors who actually are working in research. This is also a big, yes, I would say, asset for our university. We have professors working in research who, of course, bring all their knowledge from research, from industry directly into the lessons. And this is also, I think, a big strength of the KIT, which we have here. So let's go to the next one. Here we have a few famous engineers from KIT. Of course, Heinrich Hertz, everyone is using cellular today, and actually this was invented. I mean, the electrical magnetic waves, the basic of every cellular was invented here actually by Heinrich Hertz. We have also a place which is named after him here at the campus. Carl Benz, of course, he earned every knowledge here at KIT before actually implementing and constructing the first car, which, by the way, the first driver of the car was his wife, Mrs. Bertha Benz, who made the first track between Mannheim and Pforzheim, which is more or less 80 kilometers. So I think it was also a very nice story here. Emil Skoda, also very famous for the Czech car industry. Karl Steinbuch was on the founder of information technology, also here graduate and professor at the KIT. And of course, maybe the most famous one currently is Mr. Dieter Zetsche, who is the CEO of the Daimler AG and is also a member of the industry board of the KIT. So I think maybe a few of you could be also here present in the next slides in the next years. Maybe we can work on that. So the KIT, as I told before, is one of the best universities worldwide. Also in rankings, you can see that. I think for you who are coming abroad, I think one of the most important things is that the employability rate ranking in Germany is #1. Which means that really every technological company knows about KIT and hires graduates from KIT very well. And also, as I said before, maybe just during the studies, we have a lot of career fairs also within the industry, within our university, which makes, of course, the research for certain companies even easier, as you can see. But we have also other very good rankings worldwide. So I think to study at KIT should be a very good setting for you who are interested in engineering. So let's go forward, and just a few things about Karlsruhe. Karlsruhe may not be that famous as San Francisco, I know that, but Karlsruhe is a very nice city in the southwest of Germany, very close to Stuttgart, which would be, I think, maybe more famous. Stuttgart is the city of Porsche and Daimler, but Karlsruhe is also a very big technology reason. We are actually in the southwest of Germany, very close to the border to France on the left side, and on the south of Switzerland. We are very close to Black Forest, so also a touristic region, very nice. And as you can see on the slide, there's only a few big companies which we have here surrounding Karlsruhe. Daimler's biggest truck plant in the world is here, but also Siemens is a very big company worldwide, acting not only automotive, but also in energy sector, for example. BASF, the world's biggest chemical company, is in Ludwigshafen, which is also 70 kilometers from here. And John Deere, I think John Deere should be also an American headquarter, but their headquarter in Europe is very close also to Karlsruhe. So you can see those are only a few of the biggest company which we have here very close to Karlsruhe. So within this technology reason, I would call it. So I'm here for the international schools at the KIT. The KIT is, of course, a funded state university in Germany, but we have a few, we here in the international part, we have a few schools which are fully taught in English. On the first time, we have the Carl Benz School of Engineering, which is the Bachelor of Science degree in Mechanical Engineering, College of the KIT. And then the HECTOR School, which is the Technology Business School of the KIT. Here we are talking about Master of Science. We have 6 different programs in that, where we speak to and where it's addressed to students who already have gained a certain work experience after the bachelor studies. I will come a little bit more in detail afterwards. Now let's start with the Carl Benz School. The Carl Benz School is actually the talent pool for international mechanical engineers. So everyone who is really interested in doing a mechanical engineer Bachelor of Science studies is here on the right way. We have really graduates from international schools of all over the world. International students rate is very high, more than 90%, as you can see. And we are really recruiting here students from US to Asia, but also in whole Europe. So you can see it's a really, really mixed students who are really interested in mechanical engineering, and we have here our own campus and staying also in our accommodation here. Of course, we have individual mentoring program, and we have, this is also typical for German universities, a very close approach to industry. The studies itself are very hands-on, so we have a lot of laboratories to do, but also workshops. And of course, even if it's not mandatory, it's very common to do internships here, maybe more than one, where you can put in practice also what you learned at university. So going on, what is, I think, the most important thing for those who would like to study mechanical engineering? Of course, the programs is English taught. It is really a talent bench for global engineers. Hands-on industry, as I told before, we have interdisciplinary and technical comprehension here with many students who can also gain some soft skills, which are beside the core business of mechanical engineering. Individual studies and career guidance, of course, as we have here, we have a lot of mentoring programs where yes, our counselors really help you maybe in finding also some internships or some job offers, but also if you should have any problems in some subjects, of course, we can help you at any time in this. Supplementary courses, as I told you before, intercultural training, language and cultural courses. Usually those students who are coming here and study mechanical engineering at a bachelor level, they attend regularly classes in German. They are very good in German language after 2.5 years, so they can also go to German companies. And of course, we have same on-campus housing here. We are here addressing this studies mainly for those students who are very good in math, very good in physics, and have a really passion about natural sciences. Okay, as time is running, we go now to the HECTOR School. HECTOR School is our technology business school of the KIT. Here we combine edge technology know-how with management topics. And as I told you before, the potentials, the target group is a high potential industry who already gained a certain work experience after the bachelor studies, which is very common and very successful, by the way, in Germany. Students who do a bachelor thesis then go to work, and then during the bachelor thesis, so an executive way, during their work on an executive way, they can study at HECTOR School and work at the same time. So you can continue to earn money and on the same time make a degree at KIT at the HECTOR School on a technology in the technology sector. The international students rate is very high. We are also increasing in that. Currently, we have 40%. We would like to increase it at least to 50. We have small classes, and we are also addressing that worldwide. The main students are still German, or actually students who are working in German companies. So just very close to the program, we have 6 different programs acting. If we go on the right side, with the blue icon, we have production operations management, which is addressed to production processes, quality management, supply chain management, and of course focus on Industry 4.0. Then we have management of product development, which is focusing the studies on development of a certain product, maybe an innovation of a certain product, and also building the whole life circle of the product, of the life cycle of the product, let's say, from the innovation, from the implementation to the market integration. Then a very new program is the red icon. I think we can be also very proud of that. It's mobility systems engineering. As the name says, it's focused on mobility systems. On the one hand, you can choose advanced driver assistance systems, which is more related to car-to-X communication, car-to-car, and so on. And on the other hand, we can focus that on e-mobility, which is more about battery technology, battery storage, and power strain. And then with the green, following the path with the green icon, we have energy engineering and management, which is focused on renewables energy, of course, the comparison to the new the old ones, and also the very big topics that we have here currently in the world, power storage, for example, smart grids, how to storage and to empower again cities, for example. It's very, very interesting story. Then going up, we have service and management engineering, which is focused on IT. We are here addressing subjects and topics like cloud engineering, big data analysis, how to price these services, for example. Cloud engineering, I told you, safety and security is very important. And of course, also here, digitalization in Industry 4.0. And last but not least, we have financial engineering, which might be not very technical, but actually this is also related to risk and asset management. In every big company, you have investments to do, also beside the core business of a certain company. And here we can focus on which is the best business for a company beside that, which risk can I get when I'm doing certain investments, and also asset management, and also how to analyze on a really figures with help, for example, of a programming language to analyze some data and to analyze, for example, some investments topics and figures. So I know it was very, very fast. It is part-time program. Everything is English taught. 2 years program with a master thesis, usually done within a company as a project work. So again, also this is very hands-on. Yes, and then at the end, of course, you have a Master of Science from the KIT. Yeah, that's it. That's me below, you can, of course, you can ask me at any time if you have any questions about that. Just a few of you. I'm sitting right there where the arrow is, actually in the middle of the campus, and back, as you can see, our very beautiful castle. And yes, I think I just extended a little bit, and I would hand again over to Hani, if it's possible.
Thank you. Yes, actually, I will hand over the microphone right away to Professor Jarochowska, who is at the University Erlangen-Nuremberg, and who's going to talk to us about paleobiology and the program that's offered at the University of Erlangen-Nuremberg.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here and being interested in our program. I need to say that we only started it last year. It has been previously taught in German. Now we have our first group of international students, and it already seems extremely successful. So I hope that it will be also attractive for you and that you will join us in the future. You might ask yourself, what is paleobiology? What does a paleobiologist do? So our program is for people who are interested in natural sciences, who are very passionate about them, and who are not satisfied with just one topic. So if you're a biologist or geologist, or if you're interested in ecology or geography or any other natural sciences, and you would like to have a broader perspective on these topics, paleobiology might be for you, because we actually address problems which are very acute nowadays. We know that the climate is changing very fast, and that induces a number of fast-pacing changes in the biosphere. We would like to predict how the organisms and ecosystems react to that. And for this, we need a longer time scale so that we can compare what happens today with these or similar changes in the past. So we need a long-time perspective, and for that, we need to work with the rock record and with fossils. But the overarching purpose is really to answer questions for the future. So our aim is to change this traditional perception of paleobiologists as people collecting fossils in the field. This is not the only thing that we do. We want to train a new generation of scientists who are able to address current problems by looking at the long-term perspective, by looking at the entire Earth history and saying how does sea level change and the climate change affect our life and the entire biosphere in the longer time span. So our course is very experimental. It's changed every semester. We try to keep pace with the newest research, and we focus our theoretical teaching on macroecology and macroevolution. That means on processes happening on the global scale. And we also provide a very thorough training in statistics and scientific programming. So this transferable skill even if you come back from paleobiology and decide to continue as an ecologist, data scientist, or any other profession that involves programming and statistics, you will be very well prepared for that. Let me step back a little bit and tell you a little bit about Erlangen, because this is not a very big town. It is part of a sort of a twin cities together with Nuremberg. We share a common university. It's located in the north of Bavaria. It is very well connected. We have excellent public transport, so you can reach it by train or by car, or you can also come by plane. It is 2 hours north of Munich and approximately 3 hours by train from Frankfurt. It's also far from Prague. The city has about 100,000 inhabitants, and it's located in a very beautiful area. So we have outcrops with interesting fossils basically at our front door. You can take a walk from our department and find Jurassic and Triassic fossils in the field. So we provide very good field training, and we provide opportunities for students to carry out their own projects in the field, if that's your thing. In terms of culture, this is a very beautiful place to be. It's hilly, it's full of medieval castles and fortresses. We have the second largest beer festival in Germany because it's important to have a good work-life balance. We are very international. 11% of Erlangen's population are foreigners. So everyone is prepared to talk to you in English, and there are many activities which are addressed English speakers. We have all the facilities that you might need for sports. We have hiking sites, kayaking sites. This is a famous area for rock climbing. So the nature that we are surrounded with really provides excellent opportunities outside of just science. But let's get back to science. Even though Erlangen University is not very big, it's classified as the second most innovative university in Germany. We have world-class laboratories. One of our labs specializes in carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen isotope analysis, which are widely used for climate reconstructions. And out of the climate reconstructions published out there in science, many of them come from our lab. We have specialized high-tech metal-free geochemistry labs, which are available for students. So if you're interested in working with very specialized systems, you can do it on your own. You receive the training, and you receive this hard skill. We are also famous for microphages. We organized an international course on microphages analysis, and for that we use the largest collection in Europe, which is still growing. And this course is co-organized by our students who also participate in it. We are part of our research, our reefs, and we host the so-called Paleoreef database, which allows data mining of the data on all reefs in the world, both extant and fossil. Finally, we have laboratories for typical fossil work, such as microcity scanner, so a scanner that allows producing 3D models and then printing them on a 3D printer. So it's actually technologically really well equipped. Our program consists of 2 modules, and they stretch over 2 years. At the end of these 2 years, you receive a degree which is called Master in Geosciences with a major in Paleobiology. There are no tuition fees. There are no limits on the nationality of applicants. All courses are taught in English, but if you are interested in learning German, the university provides courses for it, and of course, we will help you achieve excellence in German as well. Then we have 2 modules. One of them is more typical university-like training, that is lectures and practicals. These are all the foundations of macroecology and statistics and macroevolution. And then we have Earth Systems Research Lab, which is your individual work. In the first semester, you write your own grant and you take a real grown-up proposal that you would submit to a funding foundation. Then you carry out your project, and It can be in a collaboration with scientists worldwide. It can be data mining. It can be based on a fossil collection and museum. It can be fieldwork. It can be geochemical analysis, whichever you choose together with your mentors. You write a real scientific article, and in the first semester, you focus on communicating the results of your work to different audiences. So you prepare a talk for non-specialists, you prepare a conference poster, a conference presentation, and then we organize a science run for all our students where they compete who gives the best talk. And the final semester is writing a master's thesis, which is also experimental or focused on data mining. Additionally, you can choose soft skills courses which range from languages through philosophy of science to basically fieldwork, whichever you prefer. Important for you to know is that deadlines for applications from outside the European Union is the end of May. This is to facilitate arrangements with visa. So please write it down. This is the deadline. What do our alumni do? Most of our previous students work in science or in science management. So they work in universities not only as scientists, but they also help to manage big scientific projects. Many of them work in science communication and museums and and they organize events to engage the public with science, or they prepare videos. A new emerging field is conservation biology and paleobiology, where we try to establish how did ecosystems look in historical times before the humans arrived. This is important for restoration because we don't have written archives, so we often don't know what have humans changed in the ecosystems, because these first changes happened before anyone made any surveys. But we use young fossil records to establish what was the ecosystem like before, and this is when we can contribute to conservation. Finally, many of our students find that communication is their thing, and they help other people publish and communicate science. Of course, it is also possible to work in the extractive industry, looking for ores, for oil, and just mapping and establishing the age of rocks. This is the traditional view how geologists work look like. And you should not forget that we provide a very strong background in statistics and data mining. So this is a skill that you can take anywhere, and it is always useful in any kind of job. So I would like to invite you to visit our website, www.paleobiology.de. You will find information there. If you have questions that you would rather ask to a student than to a staff member, we also have dedicated students who communicate with interested candidates, and they will answer your questions in a less formal way and will tell you what life in Erlangen is like for a non-German person. And please send me an email if you have any questions, and don't forget the deadline. Thank you.
I cannot hear you.
I could not hear you for a second, but I can hear you now.
I cannot hear Honey.
Honey, no, me neither.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, I need to unmute myself. Okay, so we have a little bit of time to answer questions. Feel free to type them in. In the meantime, I will ask a few questions that I think may be relevant to a lot of the listeners, and also for those who will be reviewing the recording later. What are what kind of costs would students look at for per month? if they have to use some of their savings maybe, or if they look into potentially work opportunities, how much would it cost them to study at either at the KIT or the University of Erlangen-Nuremberg? Maybe Professor Jarochowska, how you said on your slide also that there are no tuition fees, but how much would a student actually need for the whole month?
So we actually have a rough estimate published on our website. And of course, that varies on the housing conditions expected by the students. I'm just opening the link to the estimation. So when a student receives a basic semester ticket, and the rents in Erlangen are approximately 300 euro if you want to live on your own. Altogether, the monthly expenses might be in the range of 400 euro. I don't know if I can post this link here in the chat window. Oh yes, excellent. So this is the estimate. Oh no, sorry, that was just in privately to you. Sorry, it doesn't seem to work, but this link is found on our website. And important is that we provide an opportunity for students to work at the university as research assistants. They can work up to 20 hours per week, but most of them obviously choose to work less. And working 10 hours per week, helping us with research. So, for example, scanning fossils at our microscopy facility, preparing samples for geochemical analysis, and so on. That allows them to earn 600 to 700 euros per month, which is actually enough to cover all the expenses.
Okay. How is it in Karlsruhe? Is it similar?
Yes, it's similar. I'm fully agree with Dr. Jarochowska. I think the living cost actually in Germany is, compared to many other nations also in Europe, is not that high actually. So we have low rents for students for single room, as Mr. Jarochowska said, are not that high, and also living expenses. So I would say if you go, you have a lot of advantages as a student, of course, but you can also, if you go, I'm talking about lunch or dinner, or even if you go to a supermarket, you have a lot of discounters here where actually the life is pretty low. I can compare it to other European nations, and I would say from the level of living expenses, also compared to that what you can earn during your studies, which is also to consider. You have a lot of possibilities and chances to work as an intern, for example, or maybe as a student assistant at university, as Mr. Jarochowska said. This is also, of course, happening at KIT. Many students are working here. We also have a lot of students working for us. So the chances are pretty high that you can earn good money and have a good life, I would say, in Germany. This is actually the fact, and I think also one of the advantages here in Germany.
And I think one of the things that I would like to add is that in comparison to the United States, where students are oftentimes really limited to work on campus, is that in Germany, students, of course, I think there is an advantage of working on campus and really working in the field. But students are, if they want to, they could also work off campus, for example, in a company. And I can imagine with KIT, there are probably a lot of companies in the area that may be attractive to students where they could also earn a living.
Yes, I think this is also a kind of recommendation. I think also for University in Erlangen, the industry is here hiring always engineers. Also for example, we have also worth to mention is that many open positions we have for those who are looking for bachelor thesis position or master thesis position. So many companies hire them in order to do a project work within a company, and then maybe have the first step in a company and get hires at full time. So this is also kind of big chances that you have here if you study and work. So I mean, the chances I would say pretty high in Germany to do both things in a very good manner.
So there's a follow-up question now. How many of your international students actually then stay in Germany? I mean, of course, some may not want to stay, but do you, like, what do you have examples of where your international alumni are and what kind of positions they get into? Maybe start with you, Mr. Solinas.
Yeah, so many, I have to say that after our master program, so maybe we have to do a little differentiations between the bachelor. Those who are starting on a bachelor in Karlsruhe, usually they do a master afterwards. And the good thing in Europe is you can do a bachelor in one place and then maybe the master in another place. So in order to see also different settings, I think it's also understandable. Mm-hmm. After the master, I would say here the great majority stays in Germany because you have, as I mentioned before, pretty good chances to get full-time jobs. By the way, those who are coming here to study with a student visa after a graduation, they have 18 months time to look in Germany for a full-time job, and usually they find it. So I have several students coming from Asia, from South America, who then continue to stay here in Germany and find a full-time job pretty soon. So I would say the great majority stays here, but of course we have also a few ones who said, okay, I have my studies here now, and I would like to go back to a company in my country where I maybe can help. Mm-hmm. Some of them are not coming from US. We're talking about India, we're talking about South America, where maybe some companies needs more good engineers in order to develop a certain company. So I think this is always an individual thing, but I would say the majority stays here in Germany.
Mm-hmm. Is that the same for your field and for the students of the University of Erlangen-Nuremberg, Professor Jarochowska?
It's a slightly different because of the specificity of our field. Mm-hmm. Many of our students aim to become scientists, so we encourage them to be mobile, and we actually, of course, provide the possibility to stay, and we help them get jobs in Germany. But actually, for a scientist, it's best to stay mobile and keep on moving. Mm-hmm. And we try to help our students step into this network of international collaborations so that after they finish the degree in Erlangen, they move on to the next country. But they often, if they come from outside Europe, they often want to stay in Europe, not necessarily in Germany, and we help them with that. And there's also the thing that Mr. Solinas said, that if we have students coming from countries which do not provide training in paleobiology, we are happy to see them coming back and bring this to them, because then if they go back to, say, South America or to India, we can stay and have this collaboration, but we can establish this discipline more in their own country. And for us, this is also a better feeling.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Great, thank you very much. We ran out of time. We're past the time, but Professor Jarochowska, I see it's still light outside. So I think in Germany would still clearly we have summertime now, and it's light later. So that's nice to see. Thank you very much for joining me today and talking about Professor Jarochowska for. Talking about paleobiology at the University of Erlangen-Nuremberg, and to you, Mr. Solinas, also introducing the HECTOR School and the KIT and the Carl Benz School. Thank you very much for joining us again. For those who are listening, I will upload the recording here in a little bit, and also the presentations. You see our contact information on the slide. Feel free to get in touch with us if you have any questions. And please stay tuned for upcoming webinars. Again, thank you to my colleagues in Germany, and I hope you have a wonderful evening. And to those who are listening, I hope you have a great day. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. See you.
Goodbye.